best place in the world.
I've been riding for the last 20 years.
I'm telling you, I keep I mean, they had the little steak eaters, so they had the little fillet, bacon wrap fillet. Bringing visitor home. There's also bacon wrap fillet, $5.
Good morning, Gate City.
He was on business in Greensville, so he ran
Good morning.
Morning.
This morning, for invocation, I'd like to offer you a prayer that was written supposedly by Mohandas K. Gandhi, who was the person who led the non-violent independence of India from Great Britain. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the highest source. I salute that source in you. Let us work together for unity and love. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all the things we think, say, and for all the things we
Isn't it true? Isn't it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
I should show up the meetings more.
We can just add another one. Isn't the same every time?
A long time ago. My Rotary moment actually, the last Saturday, it was 14 or 15 or 16 years, dressing up meals. We had a great time. The music was going, and we had kids there. I brought my neighbor's teenager to it, and he had a great time too. So it was that. I love those kind of events. My Rotary.
Chuck, anybody here today?
Got a short Sergeant-at-Arms report today. We've got 48 Gate City Rotarians here today.
Dale, anybody get older?
Yes. We have 2 birthdays to celebrate. Mike Slane's birthday is today.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mike. Happy birthday to you.
And on March 16th, Charles Langdon will be a year old. Is he here today? No. Okay, we have 2 member anniversaries. Today, Tom Nelson will, this is either his 13th or 14th year, maybe 15th? Tom Nelson?
He can't get that.
And Mark Reynolds on the 13th will have his 13th birthday as a member of my group. That's it.
I'm not seeing Ashley, so I don't have any health and happiness reports, so I presume everybody is feeling okay today. Dale?
Yeah, we got trash pickup 8 o'clock this Saturday. We can get 6 to 8 people. It takes less than an hour. Really need some help with that. And I think I sent out an email. We're looking at Camp Carefree on the 8th and 9th of April. More on that.
Ralph, anything on fundraiser?
It's official, boys and girls. The fundraiser is our kickoff.
Woo!
On the back, you'll see your corporate sponsors. We're going to do something similar as last year. We're going to put people in groups of 3s for helping them brainstorm on how they're going to raise their money. We're going to have raffle tickets. Everybody's going to get 15 and is responsible for selling those 15, or pass them along to someone else, or be taxed. That's however you want to do it. Again, it's going to be a great event. May 14th, you're going to start seeing it hopefully in the media. We're going to be having it at the ballpark between innings. Being at the ballpark, obviously, Tim's going to help us with that. But any questions, please feel free to call me. But you know what to do. We're Rotarians.
Big old flat screen up.
Can people pay by credit card?
Yes, absolutely. I thought it was on the bottom. Yeah, it is. Any other questions? So we're excited. It's going to be a fun event. Again, and these are easy tickets to sell because the raffle this year is going to be a huge prize. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rob. Kelly, any news on district comments?
Well, I know that we have at least 9 Rotarians, maybe 2 more, I heard this morning. So with the spouses, we may have over 21, 22, 24 people, could be, which is a great number. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I have cut off the sign up. I know that I've got 2 people that told me they're going to register, and I'm putting them in the pot. But next Thursday we'll do the drawing.
The St. Patrick's Day raffle, very good.
St. Patrick's Day raffle, so very good.
Very good. Any other announcements we've got? Fantastic. Well, since this is seasoned member and new member talk today, we will move right to Happy Dogs. Bobby, are you around here somewhere?
No. Ralph, I got a theme for the fundraiser. Tax and spend.
We'll do that too.
Happy dog. All right, so I missed Wilbur Wright being here, but I watched his video in makeup. I have one thing to add. He talked about the boat captain that took him across to Kitty Hawk. He didn't mention the boat captain of the freight ship, who was Franklin H. Midget. Wow. The freight ship that took the plane over.
Related?
Of course. Granddaddy was from Wanchi.
My happy dollars because this weekend we're going to celebrate Justin Plummer's bachelor party on Asheville, and I was going to talk about it today instead of next week.
All right. Where's his happy dollar?
He's got it.
He got them all.
Some of you met my daughter Jenny at the Christmas party. She is a sophomore at UNC, and she got accepted to go to Beijing for free. Lenovo is having a tech expo, so Jenny is into computer science.
Good to see everybody.
I just want to say thanks to everybody for the kind emails and cards when my mother-in-law passed a few weeks ago. It was great to have friends like you guys. So thank you.
Or, no pent-up demand. Buster will be disappointed. Grandpappy did something last weekend that he hadn't done in a long time. He told me he went out and he got drunk. He said he got so drunk he took the bus home. And he said it really wasn't that hard to drive a bus. Now he's got his bus in the driveway.
Good job. Jim. I want to thank everybody for catching up the makeups. I believe we had a lot of progress yesterday. I appreciate you going online and doing that. So the best day in Rotary is the day we have new member talks and seasoned member talks. So we're going to just bring Queen Mary up and let her tell us about Mary.
Something about Mary.
Yes, there he is. Good morning. So I started writing down what I wanted to tell you about myself, and I was like, I'm just really not that interesting. That's why I wanted Tom to go last so you guys wouldn't wake up a little bit. I was born in Charlotte, last of 5 children.
Speak up.
Last of 5 children. I have a loud voice, so I might blow it out here. I was the last of 5 children. They always called me the run of the litter. We were very poor. And as I was writing this, I was like, I'm not that interesting, but I know that your life is formed by your parents and your siblings and where you grew up and those things. And we were poor, but we didn't know we were poor because our mother was fabulous. She loved us, and we were just happy. We had chickens and we gardens, and our vacations were in Florida or at the lake. And we camped and fished, and my dad made us hunt and shoot. And so I love to shoot guns. I still love to camp. Not. I still love to fish. My father was a truck driver, and he was gone a lot, so it was my mother, and she watched after us. And went to school with all my friends, starting grade 1 through grade 12, the same people, even when busing occurred. These were the same people I grew up with. My mother bought me a piano from a relative when I was 7 years old and put me in piano lessons for 75 cents a week. And she would pinch it off of the groceries. I never knew this, but she would pinch it off the groceries so I could have piano lessons. And I was good at it, but I didn't care. I was a little girl, and I liked to fish and run around with my brother outside and play in the mud puddles and ride bicycles and catch birds, and they would come through. I won't even tell you how we did that. But I kept saying, I'm not that interesting. I'm not that interesting. But I had so many people in my life that helped me become the person that I am, whether you like me or love me. But I am funny. And I got that humor, I think, from my brother next to me. And I won't tell you about all my siblings, but my oldest brother was in Vietnam, and I couldn't believe it when he would come home in his little uniform and why he would go away. I didn't understand what Vietnam was. And David Graves and I have often talked about, if you ever want to know about American history, watch Forrest Gump. I feel like my life was Forrest Gump. My mother died when I was 16, and my father was left the last of 5 children, me, a daughter, at home alone. He was a truck driver. So he shipped me to Greensboro for my junior year, and I went to Dudley High School. So I left all my friends that I've been to school with the first year, from the very first grade on, and came to Dudley. And I helped my sister care for her children and worked a job. At the end of that, I went back home, and I went my senior year. And all these things that happen in your life form you to who you are. I keep telling myself this all the way along. I went back in my senior year and lived with my crazy sister, but I woke up one morning, I couldn't walk. I was paralyzed. And so they take me to a doctor and say, we don't know what's wrong with you, but we're going to let you out tomorrow because we know you want to finish school. So I get out of school, get out of the hospital, go back to school. The next day I don't make it across the parking lot. I fall in the parking lot. So they rush me. My father comes and picks me up, rushes me to the hospital. And at 5 o'clock that day I had surgery. And they told me I would never have children. This is a senior in high school. Don't look depressed. This is great. I'm thanking Heavenly Father for it. He did me a favor. But he said I'd never have children. So I kept telling myself, this is forming who you are. This is forming who you are. This is who you are. You have to get over it. So I did. So I kept going, and I got a full-time job, and I bought my own car, and I rented my own apartment. I lied on the application because they weren't going to rent it to me. I went to yard sales, bought my first furniture. It was great. So I met a guy, fell in love, thought he was the one. He was a musician, and they needed a keyboard player. Well, guess who played? And I never knew that I sang so well, so I sang in a band. And I worked, and I also was the only one that had a full-time job and did band practice and played on weekends. And I made $80 a night. So $80 a night, my regular job, I probably brought home $250 every 2 weeks. But it's forming who I am. And you're just going to keep going. You're still going to keep going. You're still going to keep going. It was fun. So my musician boyfriend was no good. So I had to decide, okay, what am I going to do? And he just wouldn't go away. So I moved back to Greensboro with my sister, who really wound up being, she was like a mother since I lost my mother. And she helped me, and we met some friends of hers, and they said, hey, you need a job. There's a Highline dealership up here, needs some help. So I went there and wound up being the office manager and driving Ferraris and Jaguars. And my boss would hand me the keys and say, hey, Mary, go blow this one out. Get an Italian tune-up. And I'd blow down the highways at 90 miles an hour in a Ferrari and bring it back. And he was like, yes, girl. My husband, Bob, who I didn't know was going to be my husband at the time, came to work. And he came in and he was doing this little flirty thing because I was this cute little thing in the office. But I had so many experiences with men coming in and out that had lots of money, and I wasn't interested with anybody because I thought they were all married. So one day, he didn't know, but I was learning to scuba dive. This is something else I wanted to do because my mother didn't swim. She wouldn't go in the water. So I'm going through the shop one day, and my precious husband now says, hey, Mary, I heard you scuba dive. Next time you go scuba diving, can I go with you? And I said, sure, Bob, you can. Would you like for your wife to come too? And he said, I'm not married. And I said, well, get in the car. We've been married for 30 years, and we started a business together. Bob is a very awesome mechanic. He's one of the smartest men in the world I know. And during that time, there was other things I wanted to do, and believe it or not, what you didn't hear is that when I tried to start real estate every time, my grandmother died, I had to go to Florida. I'd start real estate here, I got the flu, you couldn't miss one class. So every step of the way was, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, but I'm gonna do it. So we had this business, and one of our clients came in, and his name is Young Yu. I don't know if you've ever heard of Young Yu, but he has been a martial arts teacher in Greensboro for probably 50 years. And so I said, Mr. Yu, I would really, really like to learn Taekwondo. And he said, Miss Haybrock, you're coming. So Bob, don't tell the IRS, bartered with Master Yu for me to take lessons. And I've been doing martial arts for over 20 years. I'm mid-third degree. I don't know if any of you know that. I didn't wear my little uniform for you this morning. But it's one of my most treasured accomplishments, besides real estate. So don't make me angry. We got the business going. I started out that I was going to help Bob part-time, and of course, my dream was still real estate. 12 years later, I finally said, Bob, the company's jamming, we're doing well, you're on your own. I'm going to fulfill my dream now. And I've been in real estate for 15 years, I can't even remember. I love my career and I love my family, but I know that I didn't get here without being poor. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm happy about. I think it's great to be poor. It's better to be wealthy. Thank you guys. I told you I'm not that interested.
You are too. I didn't catch where you grew up.
I'm sorry?
Was it Charlotte?
Charlotte.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Charlotte.
Thank you. Oh, so you're showing me some, yeah, let's not make it work for you. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a little bit of quick Gate City history, and then the rest of it is, I understand, was supposed to be a story of us. I'm the oldest chronological member of the club. I'm 75, born in 1940. Most of y'all don't even know that the calendar went back that far. So it's I'm from a different world. I was born in, Sarah and I were born in Wilkesboro, but delivered by the same physician. I was in the first 4 grades together out in West Jefferson. She said she never changed schools. I moved 5 times. I was in a different school in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. And I can tell you that was hell. I was a good student. I was trying to play basketball and baseball. Not good enough to be a star, but good enough to play. You move into a new school, guys don't like you to take a spot on their team, so they beat the hell out of you every day in practice. So it was not. I decided early on I was going to be self-employed because I didn't want to be moving all the time. My daddy worked for the government and agriculture department, and we moved too many times to suit me. the cat picture I showed was, I'm honored that y'all would be willing to listen to me, but anyhow. The Gate City was formed in the spring of 1991. We had our charter and banquet at the Airport Marriott in June of 91. And this is a picture taken there. Sam Hummel and Jerry Boland, who was our first president, who incidentally had diabetes and has been dead now for a number of years. But we had a very nice event, a black tie event, and we were off and running. The next year, this is 2 years later, but the next year, I think in the spring of '92, if I'm remembering correctly, a few of us went to district conference at the Kingston Plantation in Myrtle Beach. I was trying to ask Mike Conrad, he doesn't want to relate to it, but we were, a few of us were down there, had gone stag, I think, and Rusty Hoffman was driving the van that I remember we were riding around in. We went to, I didn't know what a district conference was. I really didn't know what plenary session was. I didn't even know the word. And so we kind of skipped that. Stuart Fountain was a classmate of mine at dental school. He was a rising star in Rotary, and I could tell that he was embarrassed to see us hanging around. That wasn't very glamorous, but that's how we started district conference in Gate City, as I remember it. The next year was 93, I think. And so that year they said that, okay, the ones of you who earned your Paul Harris Fellowship, we're going to give it to you at district conference. And so at that point, I got my Paul Harris, and my daddy, who was a Rotarian in West Jefferson, along with my wife Sarah's daddy, was a Rotarian in the same club. Daddy, I asked him to go down. He died 2 years later. I asked Daddy to go down with me, Daddy and Mom, and so after I got the Paul Harris Fellowship, my daddy gave me the pen that's on my coat that he got in 1943, Rotary Club, West Jefferson. He said, "I'm real proud of you." Daddy didn't say a lot, but when he said it, he didn't joke around. The next picture is Bobby Dunn, Tim Albertson, and myself, and we can't remember who the other guy was. Mike Conrad can't remember. No, Mike can't remember. But the four of us had earned our Paul Harris in 1993. So that's where we were. This is a picture of me in third grade, I think. I was, again, born in 1940. It turned out that I had asthma real bad, and it turned out that I was allergic to eggs. I was a guinea pig at Duke University in 1946, and they made up vaccines in Central West Jefferson for the next 3 years till I almost died twice from pneumonia. Finally decided to quit. But over time, I've gotten more, I'm still allergic to egg whites, but I'm not as allergic as I was. I can't take flu shots. It kept me out of the Navy and the Air Force. It did not keep me out of the Army, as I'll show you in a little bit. But anyhow, this is a high school. Flat tops were in during the 50s, so you know this around. So this is where I was when I was trying to play ball and get along. The disadvantage was everywhere I moved, the girls liked me and I'd get elected to class positions and I wasn't trying, which made practice even worse. Because I'd get elected vice president, president of class, and then they'd kick my ass. That's just what it was. So anyhow, I graduated dental school in 1965. I determined early on that I wanted to go to dental school. Well, I decided in 8th grade I either was going to dental school or med school. I was good in my hands. I was a good student. I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to do something in the healthcare field because physicians had helped me so much as far as trying to deal with my allergies and my egg allergy. So anyhow, I got in dental school in 3 years and graduated in '65, and this is my then girlfriend, Sarah. We'd been dating for several years at that point. you were talking about being poor. My daddy graduated North Carolina State in 1934 with honors, working his way through school, and I have 5 years of documents, because 1 year had to lay out that every penny he spent for 5 years while he was at state. Every penny. So it, 5 cents for an apple, 25 cents for a haircut. So our one goal in life was Daddy and Mama said we'll do what we can to help you go to school. Later, I asked Daddy for a tricycle when I was 7 years old. I told him all the only thing you need to do was write on a piece of paper, then he could give me a tricycle at West Jefferson Hardware. And West Jefferson, incidentally, in the 40s was not a yuppie place like it is now. It was Appalachian. And so, anyhow, I was trying to explain to Daddy, I said, if you sign this piece of paper and take it down to West Jefferson Hardware and get the tricycles in the window. Daddy said, if I sign this, then they'll take that piece of paper down to the Northwestern Bank, and they'll take that money out of my account, and by the way, you're not getting a tricycle. But he said, we're going to save money. If you want to go to school, we'll help you. I graduated down school with no debt. Through an incredible effort from my parents. I bought my own bicycle, my own ball club, my own clothes. So you don't mess up the clothes when you're buying your own clothes. I had been turned down by the Navy and Air Force when I was in school. Because back then everybody had a military obligation. I'd been out of school 3 weeks. I was planning to go back into orthodontic residence at Chapel Hill the next spring. I've been out 3 weeks, got sent to Charlotte for a physical. In wartime, Vietnam was, of course, cranking up big time then. They have a different set of rules for dentist physicians and vets. So the guy said, I told him I'd been turned down. He said in wartime it's different, approved, and he slapped a stamp on the thing. And so I was in 5 years, 26 months active duty and 34 months active reserve. So I'm a very patriotic person. Flag's very important to me, and I'm proud of what I did. I was in practice from 1970 to 2002 when I sold my practice to Dr. Reynolds. I enjoyed what I did. I feel I made a lot of changes in a lot of people's lives. It's something I was very good at, and I took great pleasure in doing it, and I'm proud of what I did. In the meantime, we decided, I got interested in antiques.
Anybody seen Tom's house?
That's right. In the meantime, I took Sarah to an auction up in Ashe County in 1970, and she'd never been in an auction. She raised a hand, bought a cherry pie safe, and it's been downhill ever since. But I got interested, and then I got to studying and got pretty serious about things. Well, in 1976, I heard that there was this house out in the county that was built in 1815, had an incredible interior, had been vacant for 30 plus years. It was built by General Francis K. Simpson and his wife Priscilla, and those are Gilbert Lemon watercolors of this couple. These two watercolors, actually, we traced them down because I would love to own them, but they are still in the family and they're in Hawaii at this point. But this couple built this house. The porch was added later. Obviously, it looks kind of wild. So anyhow, if we go to the next picture, we'll see that this is the upstairs bedroom. One chimney had been pulled down, and so the mantel had been forced to sit over to the side. This is how it looked when it went upstairs. This is one of the most incredible original painted, fancy painted circa early federal interiors in Piedmont, North Carolina. I knew it was important. So in the meantime, I'm running a practice, trying to work on building a house. I decided to do an exact copy of the John Bogle house from Old Salem, which is an 1819 house. It's a federal period, if anybody keeps up with it. I was so busy, but during that time, this is my Valentine to Sarah 5 days late, while I'm painting the front door. The doors are mahogany for weather resistance, and I won't bore you with a lot of technical stuff, but anyhow, I was my Valentine to Sarah in 1978 when we were building the house. This is that mantel cleaned up. There's an advantage of going to dental school because you learn how to use dental instruments, and when you're cleaning up original interiors, you don't do any real harsh things. So the mantel you saw earlier was cleaned up using dental instruments, liquid ivory, Q-tips, and that's what you got. But this is, at this point, considered very important. This is another one of the mantels that was in the main room, and the wainscoting and the around the side is two 13.5-inch yellow pine boards fitted together, and that's the original paint. And one room's in the Greensboro Museum out of this house, and the other 3 in our house. If somebody is interested in it, if you go online, there's 8 pages on our house in magazine Antiques, March, April 2012 issue, which is also kind of a story of how Sarah and I, our little life. But this is where we are. In 1978, my former partner and I, Dr. Poindexter and I, split up. I designed and built a new dental office, which Dr. Reynolds has at this point. And this was our opening reception when we opened up, or a few months after we'd opened up. And at that point, I had 5 staff members, and most of my career I worked with 7 staff members. We luckily had a lot of demand for my services, and I enjoyed what I did, and I worked pretty hard. In the meantime, one time my staff said, "You're too uptight, not serious, so we need to," this was a Halloween costume that I put together, so I did Halloween one year. Also, you can't see it very good, but I had a set of teeth I made up. If you're in dentistry, I made a little fake set of teeth. Teeth were crooked, sticking out, and had cavities in between them that I could slip in, and so it made me look like Elmer Fudd or whatever. But this was, this is the other side of me. And Sarah is the witch on the right, and I took her to dance one time down at Glenwood, and she's so good and scary. I couldn't figure out who it was, even though I knew who it was. It was pretty crazy, but this is what we did. During this time, from age 43 to 49, I had a beard. I had gone to Alaska on a trip and came down on a 55-foot boat down the inner passage from Juneau down to Vancouver before a meeting. I grew a beard and kept it on for 6 years. That was my midlife crisis. I decided that a beard was better than some of the other things that some people do with a midlife crisis. I've got a lot of friends who did a hell of a lot of things that didn't work too good. The craziest thing I ever did during this time, a friend of mine, Jim Stedman, had a deceased antique dealer. He took his Halloween parties very seriously, and seriously enough that he offered a $200 shop credit for whoever had the best costume. So Sarah and I got together. That's my field jacket, actually, from when I'm in the military. So we got together as a hippie couple. She went in like she was pregnant. And when I knocked on the front door, he didn't even recognize me when he came to the door. So that's the way farthest out I've ever been, but I got the $200 shop credit. I've done 2 medical dental mission trips to Chile, 2 16-day trips. 16 days means you can have 2 full weeks of being able to work. We were working with the Mapuche Indians, which are the natives of Chile. All the South American countries now are controlled by Europeans, if you have studied it very carefully. The Mapuches of the DNA have the same DNA as American Indians. They have been pushed off to reservations. They get no care. And so we've been down twice from First Baptist. And my hardest working day, I saw 38 surgery patients. And I can assure you I was pretty tired at the end of that. But we had no dental chairs. The missionary who translated is holding the flashlight. Sarah's holding the patient's head. Our suction is 4x4 gauze. It's in Sarah's left hand. No x-rays. To my knowledge, I never broke a root tip in the 4 weeks that I worked down there. But it's when you really work hard for people that are very appreciative. Incidentally, we got medicines that were just out of date, which are still fine, so we were carrying large amounts of antibiotic and anesthesia. Any of you that's been in the medical world know if you have chronic infections, you got to use extra anesthesia too, because you can't numb somebody with a normal amount. I've done a bunch of construction mission trips with our church since I retired. We've built a number of churches. I've also spent a lot of days at Camp Carefree, for those of you that have been around a while. And so I've spent a lot of time cutting and doing and standing around, on the roofs and one thing and another. Also, I was going to show you a little aside. this is what you use an x-ray machine for. This is out of Dr. Knowles' office at this point. We had a question from, I'm very involved at Old Salem and with the museum over there, and have been there for years, and so there was a question of whether this was a true 18th century chair or a later chair. Well, the bits that were used in the 18th century were spoon-shaped, and the later ones have a center point. So if you x-ray them, you can tell whether they were done early or late. Museum people didn't know that. I said, if I bring the chair to Greensboro and x-ray it, I can tell you what it is. And so I x-rayed it. It's actually an 18th century chair, but I was teaching the museum people a few things. This is a picture of my shop in Raven Star, which we copied from Raven House, as you know. I got interested in woodworking after I retired and took some courses. We own 6 chairs, that, which one behind, that are out of a set of original with 18 that are the circa 1755 Annapolis, Maryland, very important chairs, and so I decided to do exact copies because the average male, you may not know this, the average male in the 18th century was around 5'8" or 5'9" and weighed around 150 pounds. Guys like George Washington were exceptionally large at that point. So anyhow, I took some courses and then I decided to start, see if I could build, and so this is in the process of building. The next shot is you get to see one of these chairs is a 250-year-old chair, literally, and the other 2 I built. And so some of you have seen my calling card, which is a wooden card, because I'm on the National Executive Council, American Society of Period Furniture Makers, because after I first joined, I decided to put out one of my chairs at a national meeting, and I told Sarah that lady to tell me I can run with the dogs or I'll stay on the porch. And so I'm running with the dogs now. But these were our 2 cats, Millie and Willie. We had to put Millie down a year ago this week. But also our house, which I told you we built, is a copy of the Vogel House, is on Crow Hill. If you study in Greensboro long history, the Indians call this Crow Hill because this is where the Native Americans had a site. When I did a French drain around a mid-century modern house that I also bought and restored, we found an arrowhead that is serrated arrowhead 7,000 to 10,000 years old that I actually have framed at this point. I designed this sign and built it, so we're known as Crow Hill, and we'll be hosting a couple of museum groups in April that are not helping me as far as free time to go help at Camp Carefree.
What neighborhood is that, Tom? What neighborhood? Where?
Irving Park.
Is Irving Park?
Irving Park.
What street?
Blair Street. Also, when I was 50, I played in a basketball game at First Baptist Church, in spite of the fact Sarah told me I shouldn't. I ran for about 15 years, but I wasn't doing any jumping. And I'd done, doing 4-mile runs, all that good stuff. But I hadn't been jumping, so I go play in a basketball game when I'm 50 years old, and I shattered my Achilles. And so Dr. Jaffer, just before he put me to sleep, said, "Son, this is the worst one I've ever seen. Hope I can get it back together." And I said, "Well, I'm praying for you," and he put me out. I've since hiked from age 52 to age 65. I've hiked about 1,150 miles of Appalachian Trail. This is my best friend, Gene Purdom, who he's the only guy I've ever intentioned to walk behind very far in my life. And so this is out on the trail. It was an incredible experience, but I came in at 65, I was up in New Hampshire hiking on wet granite. You can break your leg about 50 times every minute. And I decided this is stupid. I need to go home and not do something stupid anymore. So, but I enjoyed it. It's an incredible experience. I've been involved with Greensboro Youth for Christ we've been contributing to it for 35 at least years. I've been on the board now 17 plus years, chairman my 12th year. I can't get anybody to take it. No. Anyhow, y'all, one of our grants is for City Life. This is a bus that I helped negotiate up in Virginia for us to, it's a repainted school bus from Virginia. There's an organization up there that's very Christian, you can go to the next slide, Christian oriented, and this guy in the middle. And so they made us a special deal, and you've seen Rick before. Rick has presented here, but anyhow, I have negotiated so we could get a bus that we use, but I've been involved with this. We are now reaching about 1,000 kids a week here in Greensboro, which is pretty amazing. I'm very proud of that. I joke that's my work job. My play job is my museum work. This is a house that we were asked to buy in Old Salem. It's on the square looking at the water fountain, which you can see the edge of there. And that's my playhouse. I'm there a lot. I'm chairman of Building Grounds as a trustee in Old Salem right now. So, but that's one of the places that I spend time and work out of. And the next one is Mid-Century Modern next door that I saved, bought in 2000, and right after I sold more paints, Dr. Reynolds, I restored it. We received an award from Greensboro Preservation, and it is a National Register of Historic Places house, and I'm fixing to put it up for sale because it's I can't keep sitting on 3 houses with no job. But it's I have a bad addiction to restoring houses, and it's something I love to do and I'm good at. This is our house. It's a copy of the John Bugler house, and this is what I'm working on right now, and so that's a little bit of my life story.
All right.
This is why when I work with Tom Sayers, I can't care for you. He said, I don't want any of you touching anything.
Well, you know you're amongst friends when you talk about getting your ass beaten, that gets your biggest laugh. Let's have Doc draw us a winning number here today, and we'll call it a day. Where's the bucket here?
Tom, tell us about your bow tie.
The bow tie is made out of wood. Sarah gave me one that was similar to this out of red cedar, and I just didn't like the color of it, and so I made one out of walnut, same as I do chairs with, and put the same finish on it that I'm doing on my chair.
No, that's next door to the other house. It's your house. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's next door to the one I bought it.
No, the Old Salem. You're talking about the little one?
You think it's
Draw it up.
okay, 282.